when you take, there's a difference between rights, and our government's supposed to be instituted to protect our rights. But when you legislate goods and give to others, regardless whether they're poor or lacking medical care, that's socialism, and that's against the Creator's law. Anytime a nation or an individual or a state goes against God's law, I say the Creator's law, because a lot of people have a different concept of who God is. And Psalms 33:12, blessed is a nation whose God is the Lord, is the Creator. And our public schools is socialism. It's paid for with immoral means. Martin Luther King Jr. insisted that our means should be as pure as the ends we seek. It's wrong to use immoral means to produce a moral end. Public education was instituted to create conformist status, people to conform to the state. And Kevin Hogan says 85% of the population, especially in the United States, are conformists. 10% conforms to join a group and then conforms to that group, and only about 5% are contrarians. So when Christians or people that will reference the Holy Bible, because that's a standard, when you don't have a standard, then people make their own standards. And what one perceives as socialism is good, taken from the wealthy and given to the poor, redistributing wealth, that goes against the Creator. And anybody that goes against the Creator is not, or any nation or person is not going to be blessed. They may receive goods, but they will not be blessed by it. Any comments?
I just wanted to say, Jesus was the person who said that rich people are not going to go to heaven. So it's not very capitalistic. I think Christianity is a very socialist religion. I have some reasons for that, but I'll wait
Wait,
for my time.
only socialism is big. I mean, what you said, socialism is when the government forces you to give. Nowhere in the Bible that taught that took and forced people to give. It says it's better to give than receive, but nowhere in the Bible it teaches they was forced to
No,
give. They all
I think in Luke 18:22, Jesus commands the wealthy to sell all they have and give it to the poor.
well, no, he was telling that rich dude to do that to test his faith. It
There was
was to
also
test his
the
faith.
passage where Jesus tells people to pay their taxes, render to Caesar what is Caesar's and God what is God's.
Right, but they still
That's more,
not
yeah.
socialist. That's not socialist. All right, you take Ananias and Sapphira. They they sold their property and they said they was going to give their land, give the money freely.
Isn't it anti-capitalistic to say it's impossible for rich people to go to heaven? Isn't that anti-capitalistic?
Well, it didn't say it's impossible. It says it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person.
Well, it's impossible for a
Well,
camel to go through an eye of a needle, so that makes it impossible.
it depends. It depends on. I've heard different contexts. I'm not into that. I don't know all about that.
But
But
you
it's.
mentioned
I believe it's possible for a rich man to go to heaven. I don't say it. Nowhere I
So
read
you
where it's
disagree with
impossible.
Jesus? You disagree with Jesus then?
No, I wish you'd text me where that is, where Jesus said that, because I don't know where it's at.
You just referred to it's Matthew 19:24. And you actually refer to it. It's the eye of the needle thing. But,
Yeah, but what in our English translation I've heard, now this is what I heard. I don't have facts, that back in a day there was a in the mountains there was an opening, and they had to get a camel to get
oh,
on its
sure.
knees and walk through that opening, and they called that the
Sure.
eye of the needle. Now whether that's
Sure.
true or not,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, then
Uh,
if that's the case, then Jesus didn't know how to send a message that was clear. So either he meant it's impossible, or he used metaphors that was very unclear and nobody understands. But
well,
anyways, sorry.
But
this
what do you
is
think about Ananias and Sapphira, though? Because I think we're remembering that story differently. Can you expand on your point about that?
I didn't
Lydia,
understand that.
can you see if you have a better mic, because you make interesting points, but it's
Sure.
hard to hear you. So let's see what you could select.
But
But
what I'm saying is when the government legislates goods, as in public schooling, and the public schools are
Can you hear me now?
indoctrinating people. They use in public education to indoctrinate people, and this is all documented in several
okay,
books in history. And we allow that. We allow that to be done. And I
okay.
believe it's
So
wrong.
let's move on to other people, because I think there's a
All right.
big list, right,
Okay.
Samantha? But yeah, thank you for your points, Jerry.
Thank
All
you.
right, David is next.
Lydia, you should also be on the list, because I think you have some really good points I want to hear. So
Hi.
Put me on the list.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk politics, particularly about Iran, but I think we're at the stage where we should be doing politics. And doing politics is getting on the streets. We have ceded the streets to the red, green, or the unholy alliance of the extreme right, the jihadists, and the extreme left progressives, and who are who are stomping on Judeo-Christian and Western liberal values to the detriment of all the people on this call. Hamas has people demonstrating for them, people on the campuses demonstrating against the rights of other people on those campuses. We are ceding the streets to the extremists, and it's to our detriment. So we can talk all day. I am very involved here in Indianapolis with rallies with Iranian expatriates, even some who served in the Shah's army, and young people who escaped, and women who were abused by the regime. And why are we not rallying in every city in America? That's a question to the group. So we can sit and pontificate all day, but you got to get your butts out and raise those flags at key intersections, at stadiums. That's what we're doing here. And I think it should become a national movement to stand up and publicly and support the Iranian effort to overthrow the terrible regime.
first of all, David, I 100% agree with you, and my hope, and maybe you guys could help with that, is to turn this group into a place where we plan things for different locations, not just discuss things. Once we try to grow it enough so that we become a big enough group where we could actually mobilize people and come up, not just protest, but different types of actions as well, like whatever we need. But for that, we need to actually become a bigger group first to be able to do that. I want us to do things.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I would like this group to become a center of that.
We started a group called the Ideological Defense Institute. It's being launched this month. I'd like to be able to share that with everybody here. And we have major donors in the United States and abroad supporting our efforts to stand up for Judeo-Christian and Western values. If we have Hindus also very interested in our efforts. We also, the rallies with the Iranian expatriate Iranians, we are doing art related events, we're doing social picnics, and the rallies in public places. I think it's very simple to do. We just need an organization of people committed to do it. And I welcome an opportunity to help plan it.
Sounds good. Okay. I will be in touch then. And I also, by the way, made
Okay.
you change your membership status to premium so you have access to all our events. Thank you. Samantha?
Okay, it says Miss Sal on it, but do we have someone named
Oh.
Miss Sal, or did I mean Michael?
No, I mistyped. I think it's Michael.
That is correct. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, I mean, I was going to add my 2 cents because I think we're moving to different topics, right? So, as far as religion goes, I feel like, the Catholic Church was like the OG socialist because, like, when the Spanish came to the Americas, I'm not going to sugarcoat and defend them, but, they provided literary education for the indigenous peoples. That's like an example. Basically, like free education, if you think about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's all I wanted to say for now.
Okay, thank you. All right, Peril. There's an element thing. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Now, I just want to give the lobbying example in America. The NRA is a huge lobby, and politicians are scared of them because they have so much power and voting bloc. So they influence gun legislation because of that, even though their membership are actually varying degrees of extremism about owning guns. They have tremendous influence over politicians. I mean, it's free speech, but it's tremendous influence too, you know? And most Americans want common sense gun laws, but it just hasn't happened in all these years, despite all these horrible massacres because of the gun lobby.
But what's the solution to introduce a law that you cannot speak on behalf of what your views are? Like that would be a more dangerous solution than the problem that you're trying to solve. So you might actually not like my opinions on this because I think America is secure. The reason why other countries get to have such strict gun laws, I do believe that gun laws need to be a little bit stricter in America. But I also believe that America's Second Amendment allows America to be a democracy that secures other countries' democracies. Other countries get to have strict gun laws because their democracy is guaranteed by America being such a powerful country, but America's democracy is only secured by Americans with guns. There's no other country on top of America to make sure America stays a democracy. But I do believe some more regulations might be needed, but I do think that it's good that Americans are armed. It has a cost associated with it, like people dying, but people die more with car accidents and we don't ban cars.
I don't know. Fair
comparison, you're right, because way more people die with car accidents, and nobody suggests that we should make cars more strict. Way more people die with car accidents. So we have decided that the convenience of having cars is worth so much that we could allow some people to die. We have decided that with cars
And alcohol.
and alcohol. Yes, more people die with alcohol as well.
Okay, and just one other point about the idea of getting out in the streets that you said. Who's the gentleman that talked about that? Oh, David. Yes, we have these. Unfortunately, we have these very powerful groups now, progressive groups like Indivisible, that are very powerful grassroots that organize activism all over the country, and they've been pushing this pro-Palestinian thing. Unfortunately, so they have a lot of followers. I agree with a lot of their anti-Trump stuff. Sorry, Armin, but not the issue of Israel and Palestine.
I don't get offended when people this. I like it when we have disagreements. So don't worry about disagreement. I think I enjoy disagreeing with people. So don't ever say sorry for what you believe in. Yeah, okay. All right. You're welcome. All right.
Tom. It's Tom's turn.
Tom.
Is Tom here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think organizing like a group, a street level movement group would be an excellent idea. It's like Tommy Robinson, sorry, I have a cold, is really good at doing that, at organizing people, getting them together, against Islamic extremism, against crime. And I really do think we need our own street movements and stuff what you were talking about. So that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, Samantha, no pressure if you if you want me to mod, whatever, if you're comfortable.
I think I got it. It's Armin's
okay.
turn.
Who?
Armin, your turn.
Oh, me. So wait, hold on. Where's my notes? Why did I delete it? Hold on. Where is it? Oh, okay. So I was going to talk about like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Canada, because a lot of times people look at the World Happiness Index and they see that the happiest countries in the world are not America. They're countries with more government involvement in the economy, and their model seems to be working better if they're happier than Americans on average. I mean, America is still very high up on the list, but usually some countries that are less capitalistic are a little bit higher. People don't pay attention to the fact that there are more command economy, socialist, and communist countries that are below America than above it. They just focus on the ones that are above it. But let me tell you something about the countries that are above America, and when it comes to the World Happiness Index, they all rely on America, right? They get to do what they first of all, that's not going to last. Like having a welfare economy is not going to. I mean, it's kind of like a family living on credit cards, and you could look at them and feel like, oh my God, they must be doing something right. But like, okay, but give it some time, right? Give it a couple of decades, we'll see where they are at
They pay more
later, right?
taxes. That's where their taxes go.
What?
They
Yeah.
pay a lot more taxes. That's where their taxes go.
I know, but people say they're happier, but that to me, that's like a family that is just using a lot of their debt and credit card, and you're like, oh, they're happy. Look, they're eating at the best restaurants every day. They seem okay, right? So we should be doing what they're doing. Well, no, we have to wait and see what the long-term results are, not the short-term results. But also, a lot of these countries get to pay for a lot of the stuff that they do pay because they don't have to pay for their security because America is paying for that. America is keeping these countries secure. America is like these countries felt so secure because of America's military presence all around the world that the money that they should have been investing in their military, they're just giving it on managing very inefficient healthcare and education, like giving people what they call free healthcare and free education. Well, they're saving a lot of money, but not by not paying their fair share for security. And they're free riding. And I think like one thing, I mean, I see some things that Trump does and I like, and I see some things that Trump does and I don't like, right? So I'm not black and white with Trump. But one thing I like about Trump is the fact that he is putting an end to that. Like he's telling Europe, many European countries, like you need to actually pay for your own security. Like this is you're leeching off of America, and that needs to end. So I think I appreciate that, and it's actually good for European countries that Trump is doing that to them. So, yeah. But so I think like summary is that looking at the World Happiness Index is misleading because a lot of these countries get to be where they are because America is providing for their security. And America gets to be this powerful in providing for so many countries security because it's a capitalist country. That
Okay, so Michael, then Lydia.
Yeah. So actually, I agree with you, Armin. Like, for example, we take a look at these rich Gulf countries. If America wasn't really providing them security, they'd be kind of fucked because, historically, like Arab militaries did horribly. Like they performed pretty bad. And that's why, for example, when they tried to destroy Israel in the 1930s or 40s, I forgot, they failed miserably because they didn't have strategy. They didn't have the military experience the Jewish Hebrews had.
they wouldn't even exist.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Just because of the oil money, I mean, that's why they're still standing to this day. And also the United States providing them security. But what happened when Israel killed one of the terrorists in Qatar, in Doha? I mean, that just goes to show you who's the actual superpower within the Middle East. It's not really UAE or Saudi Arabia. America doesn't trust
We
them
know.
100%, you know?
Yeah.
They don't trust America either, by the way, because Biden, Biden, and they were very upset with Biden, the Saudis and the Emiratis. So they
Well,
see Israel as
they'll
a
probably
stable
say that
friend.
publicly, but behind closed doors, money talks, bullshit walks. They probably say it to save face. It's like when all these Arab countries are like, oh, we support Palestine, this and that, but behind closed doors, they're like big hypocrites.
Of course.
Like amongst Arabs, they hate each other, and I know that because as Mexican American, I have Lebanese extended family, and they talk shit about other Arabs.
All right, Lydia, then Daniel.
All right. Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about Ananias and Sapphira because Jerry brought it up before. And I think we're remembering that story really differently because I'm Jewish now, but I used to be a Christian. And I've also said in my intro that I'm a recovering leftist. I no longer consider myself leftist, but at the time I did, and it was really Christianity that brought me to leftism. It was particular the story of Ananias and Sapphira was, in my opinion, it seemed to be very much a condemnation of being a landlord in general or making money off property. And in that story, Ananias and Sapphira are a Christian couple who sell a plot of land, and they sell that plot of land and they give some of the proceeds to the church, but they hoard some for themselves. And because they hoarded that wealth, God struck them dead, one after the other. It was very dramatic. And to me, reading that story, I thought that was a very clear condemnation of capitalism. At least that's how I read it in my Christian days. I could maybe see how someone could argue it differently, but I don't know. It seemed very clear that God was upset that they hoarded the wealth that they made from selling the plot of land.
May I speak, Jerry?
Yeah, maybe guys. So
Yeah.
Samantha, when somebody wants to
I'm interested in
respond,
hearing your answer.
yeah.
Uh,
So when somebody wants to
Yeah.
respond to something, they could actually come in, but keep it short so that
Yeah.
the other people could actually also. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Ananias and Sapphira wasn't killed because selling their land. They was killed. God killed them for lying to the Holy Spirit. They made a vow to sell their land and give it to the church, like you said, but they lied to God, and that's why they died. God killed them, and also to make an example out of them. Once that happened, all the people feared. They had a reverence of God. They feared God. That's why they was killed. Paul told them, well, Peter, I believe it was, said, was it that your land to start with? You owned it. You didn't have to sell it. So there's no socialism there at all. It was all free from the heart, give from the heart. The church members there were sharing everything in common.
But isn't it
It
more
was
of a proto-socialism?
No, it was free will. They didn't, it was not forced. No one was forced to give anything. They done that out of love.
So your issue with socialism is the force involved.
Right. When the government
I see.
forces you, when they take from you through taxes
What,
that
what
and
if
give,
God forces? What about God when God forces you with the threat of hell? Isn't that force also?
Yeah, but that's a choice still, because you can just
Okay,
ignore God.
well, the government is also then giving you a choice. You could like
No, you can't
do
ignore
this or
the
you go to
government.
jail. You could choose going to jail just in
Yeah.
the same way you could choose going to hell. You could also choose going to jail. So in that sense, that the government is not forcing you either.
Yeah, but the choice of whether to believe in God is still in your hand.
I think threatening with hellfire is more force than with jail. I think I'd rather go to jail
I
than
agree.
burn. So I think hellfire is more of a force.
But yeah, as Tor Worldwide is pointing out, hellfire is really only a threat in Christianity. It's not a Jewish concept. So
It is in Islam and Christianity. Islam are the majority of people, and I
yeah.
would rather go to jail than burn.
Yeah, I'm about to
Oh,
cross the border right now. So I probably
yeah.
won't be back in time for my turn, but I would still like to come back in a little bit if that's okay.
Okay, I'll put you lower on the list.
How
Thank
about
you.
you speak? Can you speak now or no?
No, I'm crossing the gate right now,
Okay.
so I have to get off the phone. Bye.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye.
It's Daniel, then Oscar, and then I'll put Savannah back on the list after Oscar if she appears.
All right. Hello. Is my microphone working?
Yeah.
Yes.
Test.
By the way,
Okay.
Daniel, I'm gonna add you.
So-
I'm gonna change your status to premium so you have access to all our calls.
okay. This is my first time showing up, so premature, but I will try to show up more. So, with regards to David Schiller's point to get your feet on the street, I see the problem as leftist values considering protest to be a good thing in itself. Protesting is itself a bad thing because instead of producing value or whatever you're supposed to do, you're deliberately going out and doing nuisance. But it can be compensated when you're protesting for a good cause, and then that could make up for the lost value that you're not giving to society. But also, in my view, leftists don't really value actually finding out what they're protesting about and verifying that they're protesting for good causes, which is why we've had these anti Semitic rallies for 2 years now, where the majority of the participants go not because they support jihad, but because they know less about the conflict than they did on the day they were born. So my point is, I'm not sure how to fight this problem, but I'm concerned about getting into some sort of arms race where our side is also going out to protest just for the sake of protesting, and then everyone is protesting about everything, but no one knows what they're protesting about. So I'm open if anyone has suggestions of what to do.
Yeah. I just think that we should find other ways of becoming active and doing things than protesting. And I don't know what that is, but at some point when this group grows, I was thinking of collectively coming with the most strategic things that we could do. But again, this group is not big enough yet to figure this out. But at some point, I want us to come up with some things to do, not just talk about things. But yeah, I agree that protesting is not the only answer. We need to be more creative.
Well, I'm definitely in favor of that, and this is my dog.
Oh, hi. Cute. I like dogs because they keep
That's all.
Islam away.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he is not black.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. It still works.
All right, so I got Oscar, then Dajjal.
Say
Oscar.
you said Lydia May. When people say, like, I always hear this line, especially from conservatives, saying like Judeo-Christian values, and that we have to get in touch with these values in order to like save society from degeneration or from relativism or these kinds of things. But I actually think that, many of the progress that we have made is actually gotten away from these so-called Judeo-Christian values. And I'm just going to say, for example, the equality of women, the equal representation in law, the ability to vote. These actually have come from overcoming Judeo-Christian values. Slavery is another one. Talked the other time about the example of Huckleberry Finn. Huck was feeling guilty of helping Jim because he was responding to his Christian teaching that slaves are to be held and you can be still a good Christian while holding slaves, right? So when people say, especially conservatives, say Judeo-Christian values, I exactly do not know what they're talking about. Like, if you guys are talking about moral universalism, like the idea that everybody should follow the law, or that everybody should, these kinds of things, and the idea of having objective morality, if we know those things are good, why do we need the Bible or these kinds of Judeo-Christian values to tell us how to behave? Number two, regarding socialism and Christianity, for a long time, Christianity has had a problem with usury. And usury is making basically an extra profit, like interest, off of, a property or capital that you have. And, the people that they forced to basically handle the money was the Jews, because the Jews had no provision against usury. So they held those positions. And so actually that stereotype, right, that that usury is a big problem. I find that to be in a secularized form in Marxism, when they actually talk about a surplus value and the value that is added on to the commodity, which is then fetishized and all these kinds of things. So when I hear people say Judeo-Christian values, and I have this understanding of Christianity, and people tell me, oh, we have to get more attached with like Jordan Peterson and these kinds of people to Judeo-Christian values, I think of slavery, and I think of gender inequality, and I think of these like think that this hatred of wealth and well-being and happiness and equality. And so I don't know exactly what they mean. And I hear a lot of people sometimes say like, oh, mixing like postmodernism with progressivism and lump them all in one, and that just shows that there is not much nuance to what they're saying, right? But that is my point. I just wanted to say that.
Can I respond to that for a moment?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I don't usually get involved with too deeply into religious arguments, and I'm Jewish, so you know where I'm coming from. I also disagree with the term Judeo-Christian values. I think that certain values in Christianity were derived from Judaism, but I don't think they've gone in exactly the same way. So the term that I tend to prefer when I look at where I think our society is heading is Western liberal values, which may have originally been derived from certain religious values, but are now an entity unto themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it can come from anywhere. The thing is, like, once we recognize that those are positive things for getting along and making society better, we don't need the text anymore. Like, we can, it's besides the point. Like, we don't need a celestial authority to, that these are absolute forever. There are times where lying is okay, I would say. Like, there are times where it's okay. And there are times where I could understand that a person might steal and it's okay, right? Like, if a person talks to me and I understand the situation, I might be like, fuck, dude, like, if I was in your place, I would have lied, right? I wouldn't have told the Nazis that you guys were Jews. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have lied straight up.
Can I ask a quick question? Like, you know this better than was Jesus against moneylenders? Like, is that why he turned the tables? Like, was he against money lending in general?
Oh,
Like,
It's
yeah.
actually in
I
the Torah.
mean,
yeah, go on.
Jesus was an ascetic.
So
He
like the
didn't like,
economy runs on loans. Like, it cannot have an functioning economy if you're lending without lending money. So if he's against that,
well, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't do that. But if you have somebody else run that for you,
Judaism
like
too.
a
That's
Jew,
where they get it from.
well, that's not just against capitalism. That's against any form of economics. Like, you cannot have a functioning economy unless you could lend money and charge interest on it. It's impossible.
Couldn't hear
Did,
Samantha.
We have Mossad
yeah.
next.
Samantha, if you want to, me and you, we could talk about why I defend capitalism. If you want to have a private conversation about that, because I know you don't want, because we're not going to attack you. If you would disagree with capitalism, that's completely okay. Like, if you want to say why you don't like capitalism, that's completely okay.
Yeah,
Like, don't be,
because capitalists believe in freedom, so you're free to say that you don't like it.
but you don't have to if you don't want to
I
defend
mean,
your
it's cool.
position.
Just saying.
No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to hear criticisms of the free
I'm,
market because you learn from it and you can adjust
yeah.
and continue.
I'm very interested to see what your problem with capitalism is. I'm not going to attack you if you express yourself. But go on if you want to say something, and if not, you could pass.
Capitalism feels demonic.
Okay,
Demonic.
that's good.
Well,
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That don't put that was more that was it's good that you actually shared that. So we don't have to. I think she wants you to now talk about something else. So let's not go to that. But
Wait,
sure.
Yeah, thanks for
could I
sharing.
share
I'm just
something?
gonna answer the things that
well,
were talked about before.
wait. She's saying something more. Hold on,
Oh, sorry.
Samantha,
I'm
go
sorry.
on. Yeah, no, go on.
Can,
What is it, Samantha?
can I possibly share something I wrote?
Yes, go ahead.
Communism is a godless religion. In the beginning, there was a darkness, and a light was brought by the communists. Its warmth felt miraculous. It shined with such brightness. In the absence of God, the creator is the party. We, the people, claim all power and agency.